All right. Good morning. It says it is locked upside down. So I don't know if that's true or not. But anyway, I'll come say hello. Hi. I'm going to talk about Papua New Guinea. It's one of my favorite trips, so I thought I'd start with that one. So, what went down was I was in Australia. I needed to leave to get my visa extended. So I was in northern Australia. I had always wanted to go to Papua New Guinea because the Rockefellers had gotten lost there. I felt like if a place that was that remote that all the money that the Rockefellers owned couldn't find one of their own, I wanted to go there because it was super, super remote. So when the chance came up for me to leave Australia, Papua New Guinea was very close to far north Queensland. I went to the travel agent, got my tickets, flew over there, and found out while I was at the travel agency that Papua New Guinea apparently was an extremely dangerous place. I remember standing in the airport hoping that I would come back with my head still attached to my body. The reason that it was this is taking a little more time than I thought, so I'm gonna move this back and chat with y'all, and then we'll get to the pictures. Whoop whoop. Got a little baby tripod here. The people in Australia, I had been going to the travel agency a bunch of times, and each time I went, it got a little worse and worse, the whole idea about just going to Papua New Guinea. First of all, it was a third world country in my head, so therefore it was a cheap place. Wrong. It was very expensive. I was going to be there for 2 weeks. I was going to just, get in shape and not be traveling all over Australia, so it was going to be a break from that. Well, she says you can't travel all over New Guinea. It's very dangerous. You can only go to this one island. Okay, fine. The last time I was in there, after I had bought my ticket, she said, y'all, I'm just going to run around the island every morning and then swim. She said, oh no, you can't leave the hotel complex. So now I was flying to this place, paying a lot of money, going to be captive in a hotel, and the only thing I could do is swim in their pool. There was no reason to go to Papua New Guinea, but bought my tickets. So part of the reason that there was so much tension there was in World War II, Germany had Papua New Guinea. They lost it. Australia took it over. The people in New Guinea, by the time I was there, said, hey, you know what, you guys, y'all have been doing the government stuff long enough. It's our country. We want to take it over. But the Aussies had all their financial investments in it, so they were very reluctant to let it go. So there was a lot of tension, which kind of came down on a racial line, and the people in Australia said it was very dangerous. Well, I flew into Badang, I believe, and had a 4-hour layover. Looked out the window. People did not look scared. The person on the airplane flying over there, I thought, there was a lot of people on the airplane. It's a skinny little hot dog plane, but there were 40, 50 people on it. The guy sitting next to me said, yeah, no one in this airplane is going to spend the night over there. Before it gets dark, we're going to be gone. He looked behind him and said, oh wait, there's a couple other stupid Yanks in the far back here. Okay. So I got off the plane, and nobody looked scared. People were just walking around the street like you normally would walk around the street. I went across to the restaurant. They had a big bay window, and I sat intentionally in the bay window to see how I felt. Like, did I want to go somewhere else in the country? I didn't feel nervous at all. Everybody just kept walking by. They saw me, some of them didn't. Nobody cared. So I went back to the airport. It's a little bitty thing, right? It's just a one-story, small little airport. Go to the counter. This gentleman just kind of sashays real slowly up, says, "Can I help you?" And in my little arrogant way, I thought he was a janitor because he just had so little energy. I told him I wanted to fly around the country and see it, at least experience instead of go to this one little island. He said, "Come on back." He's the vice president of the airport. I sit in his office and tell him what I'm interested in. And he says, "Okay, I think I can help you out. I've got a friend who used to be a airline stewardess for the Papua New Guinea Airlines. And she lives in one place that I wanted to see, and she has family in these other ones I was interested in." So he tries to get me on an airplane, and the airplane is full. There's only one going to the other area I need to go to, and it turns out it's a chartered flight. So he can't really get me on there, and he worked so hard and hard and hard and hard. His name was Trudy. He eventually put me on the jump seat, which is in the very front of the airplane, with the pilots. So I had this 280-degree view or something. There's some mountains down here, 13,000-foot mountains that we were flying over. And this is it. Hopefully you can see a little more of this. Let's see what is going on with the camera. See if I get you closer. This is one of the problems I'm having. I can't get the images to show up as well on the YouTube things. I would wish that they would. Alright. But those are a lot of mountains. This is the remoteness of it. Lots of very steep terrain and very dense jungle. And I haven't gotten used to my technology yet. This is another scene just right out the window of where we were flying. And then I landed in the first place I went to. Let me see if it's in my journal. The name of the first place that I went to go to. This is... No, this is where I went to Madang. The first place I stayed with the family was in Madang. So this is landed. It's right on the waterway. This is the house where I stayed. It was on stilts. That's their water. This is where they catch all their rainwater. This is one of the niece of the woman who worked at the airline stewardess. The airline stewardess, Jenny. Let's see, I have her name in here too. She spoke some English. No one else did. We had... One of the things I remember, all the signs there are in English. They got their independence in 1975. Let's see if I can find her name. Bernadette. Bernadette. She met me at the airport. She's very soft-spoken. Philip is her husband. She has 2 children, Josie 5 and Jenny 2. Her niece lives with her. This is Lala. That's her niece. And her children are Charlie and Paul. But that's also one of the other ones because Paul is 7 months. It's difficult to see here, but she had a lot of where your face is burned, your skin gets burned. She had a lot of tribal markings all across her forehead from hot flames. This was a gentleman that we passed. One of the another cousin that was living at the family, Jimmy, he was 18. He took me around to a bunch of different places. We went, and I need to get something to wear because this is on the equator, so it was extremely hot. So he took me to shopping, and these are a few things we saw when we were around. I believe this is in their backyard, though. That's one of their birds. That's inside their house. This was a community place. I don't remember anything about this. Building something new. And if you stay with me over the course of the 3 weeks, you'll see I take a lot of picture of plants. These are all bats. They're fruit bats. We were just driving down through town, and there are all these bats asleep. They're huge. So we went around and saw a bunch of different animals and took me some places. Then we went shopping, and I got the laps, which is the traditional dress that they wear there. I walked around in it after he and I parted for the afternoon. I passed a school, like third grade, well no, they were older than that. I'd say they were middle school girls, were out playing games, and I walked by in one of their dresses. They, at that time in their school, they had to wear uniforms, but they recognized the dress I had on. The style of it was very much Papua New Guinea style. So they came to the fence and were laughing and pointing, and I waved back and smiled, and they were so tickled. They didn't speak any English, and I didn't speak their language, but we just had a little bit of a conversation, and they had never seen somebody with my white skin in one of their dresses, so they were really very excited. That's, you know, who we are and what we bring to it makes a big difference when you travel. It makes a big difference in life, but it's so immediate when you travel. So after I hung out with that family there, I went scuba diving. I had been in I had been in Australia not too long before that. I had gotten my scuba diving license, so I got to go diving. It was gorgeous. The animal life was just amazing, and then I went back at night and went scuba diving at night, and that was a little bit intimidating because you could only see right where your helmet was, so that was kind of scary. As you can see, it's not a very modern place when I was there. Okay, and that is the end of what I did when I was there. Let me see if there's anything interesting in my journal. Oh, this is one of the funny things I remember. We had coconut rice. You put coconut milk in raw rice and cook it for 20 minutes in 1.5 inches of the coconut milk. You make the milk from a brown coconut, scrape out the meat, mix it with water, and then you take just the water part out of it. It's really good. I took a shower when I was there, only cold water. Love the hot nights. Yeah. Then, when we went to the market one day, I saw lots of stuff that I didn't know. They had different kinds of greens. They had white, pink, and orange sweet potatoes. I ate some breadfruit, which you have to burn first for 20 or 30 minutes. It tastes like boiled peanuts. They had a lot of betel nuts there to eat with lime, and mustard plants that were really not hot. They have this skinny lime green with black dots on the mustard plants. They mix those with lime and the betel nuts, and when you mix them all together, it turns red. I didn't eat any of it there, but I did have some later. It's a little bit it affects you a little bit like tobacco, supposedly. But if you have too much, it kind of trip you out. I had lots of different tubers. They have a yellow small fruit that you take the top off of and eat the middle. Then we went to a park with water lily plants and crocodiles in it. We never saw the crocs though. Alright, so what I need to do now is put in the images. I was walking one day here in Madang with Jimmy, the cousin. I said I had been trying to find out about this festival that they had in Papua New Guinea. All I had been able to discover that it was every other year. I couldn't tell if it was even years or odd years. But, you know, it was... Hi. It was pre-internet. So I couldn't find anything about when this festival was, but it was up in the mountains, and all the people dressed up in various costumes and their traditional outfits. It was a huge celebration of tradition. He says, oh, well that's this weekend, and my auntie lives up there. So they put me on a little plane, and I flew up to the mountains for the celebration. I gotta load all those pictures, then I'll be back. End.